Hey, my name is Dave Enns, and I've been at North Coast Church since 1990. Started as a high school pastor, launched the college ministry, and that was exciting just to see that go and grow. And then they said, hey, Dave, are you interested in doing life groups? I'm like, no way, I want to be a real pastor. And after a lot of prayer and thought and them saying, yes, we definitely want you, I made that move into leading our groups ministry 21 years ago and have never looked back. And here's why. Here's what I found out. I have always been a party planner, and I found out leading our groups is I am the ultimate party planner. And right now I'm in charge of about 700 parties that happen every week with our life groups all around North County and far beyond. And it has just been an exciting run. I think one of the great things about it, why I've been able to be in this role so long, is all the change and the growth and the challenge of continuing to adapt my leadership style to be able to help us succeed and continue to replicate this quality meeting of building of relationships with people. When I was in high school, we had an amazing coach. We were like the smallest school in our league, and yet we dominated our schools around us. In fact, one of the years we outscored our opponents 49-1 with only 18 players. And it was an incredible season. And what do we give credit to? Do we have a bunch of high-level athletes? Absolutely not. We had people like me on the team. But we had amazing coaches, and here was the great thing about who these coaches were. Wherever they went, they succeeded. In fact, I talked to the coach after I left years back, came back, and I says, tell me how you're coaching. He goes, oh, it's so different because my players are different. What they need is different than what you guys needed when you were here. And we watched them, me and all my friends tracked them over the years of how they succeeded wherever they went, because they had a unique ability to not bring just their agenda, but to understand who their players were. That's why I'm passionate about coaching, because so often in the church, we're like, I have to do this, God has called me. And we start hitting walls and go, why are we not succeeding? What's going on? And I love to hear that. Not that it's not going well, but I'm like, hey, we want to be successful. And sometimes we're like, well, I'm just not committed enough. I'm like, no, you need to make some changes. You need to adapt some pieces there of how you're doing it. Because so often, or none of us want to waste time in ministry. And coming along the coach, and this is what these coaches are able to do. They're able to look and not just bring their agenda, but help to understand who the individuals are. And in this case, who the church is, what's your vision for your church? Because our goal here at North Coast Coaching is not for you to become North Coast. We're us and you're you. We want to help you be who God is calling you to be. Of course, we're going to bring some of our successes and things that have helped us for you to be successful, but we're going to come alongside of you and find out what is God calling you to and see what we can do to encourage you to be successful. Hey, yeah, I have a Christian education major from Biola University, and I have a Master's of Divinity with a practical theology emphasis from Bethel Theological Seminary. Dave, why did you go to so many schools, somebody would ask. And I said, and I was looking back and I'm like, wow, you know what it was, is almost all of them were ministry driven. In other words, as I was looking to see how God was leading me, it was leading me in certain ministries, and they took me to different locations. And one year, I wasn't sure about going into vocational full-time ministry, and I'm like, I need to be going to junior college and not spending a lot of money. So that was one of my years in college. Seminary was the same thing. As I dove in and was going to a couple different schools and wanted to maximize my education, what fit who I was. And then I took a job at North Coast and I quit seminary, and I took 8 years off, and then I finished it off 4 years later. So I took 16 years to get my Master's of Divinity done, and I'm so glad I did it that way, because when I started my Master's, I had ministry experience, but when I went back, 12 years later, I went back to start up again. it was so much better, not because the professors were better, but because I understood that I wasn't living in the world of theory anymore. It's like, wait, okay, you can teach that, but how does it work? My questions were just so much better. So that's a little bit of my story behind the long-term education. The other part is, what schools did I go to? It's called ministry. Ministry is the school of education for sure. And I think it's so important if you're involved in ministry and you are in education. I think those two need to go hand in hand so you keep it real and not theoretical. I think one of the things for me being at North Coast for the 34 years is I have been part of us going from one campus, sharing it with another church, to our now 11 campuses, involved in all of those strategies. So it's been great to have my coaching help with groups, but also just strategies for your church in the midst of that. Because again, so often we make a plan, and is it realistic? And so, again, love to help churches do that in whatever they need and be able to speak into. A hot dog is not a sandwich, it's a hot dog. Come on.